Hey, gun people and Texas people. I wanted to go over Texas is voting today on these 8 different propositions, and I meant to do this yesterday because I probably missed a lot of people that got in this morning. But they've got 8 different Texas propositions to amend our Constitution, and I'm like, what the hell do all these mean? Like one, it seems pretty clear. Constitution authorizing support of charitable contribution to organizations sanctioned by professional rodeos. From what I can gather from this title is they want to allow rodeos to be a charitable organization so they can do raffles. I don't know why we need a constitutional amendment to allow that. Why don't we just get rid of the law that prohibits this instead of adding a constitutional limit? So let's go look at these Proposition 1 here. And this is Ballotpedia. And it's hard as hell to find. You got to Google Texas Proposition 1 in order to find this link. It's not like, hey, here's all the propositions for this election. It's not easy at all. Really unfriendly website. So, a yes supports the Constitution, authorizes professional sporting teams and foundations to conduct raffles for rodeo venues, including professional associations sanctioned by the rodeo. I really find this a waste of freaking time that we have to amend our Constitution to allow this. Why don't you just get rid of the freaking law that prohibits this shit and get out of our ass instead of making us go vote for stupid shit? But anyway, I'm going to probably vote yes for this. If you go down here, it says ballot title, reliability score or thing. Then I go to who supports it. So it just says Charlie and Progressive Texas. When I see Progressive Texas, I'm like, anytime I see Progressive, this says Progress Texas. So I was reading as Progressive. Progress Texas. That doesn't really, so I look at who's against it. Brine, a Republican, and Texas Freedom Caucus. I don't know who either of these people are. So it's not, let's see, support. El Paso Times, Dallas Morning News recommends yes. Fort Worth, most newspapers, especially Dallas Morning, is left wing. If they're saying yes, I want to vote no. I mean, it's just any media that supports this, it just leads me to go, no, I was going to vote yes for this. But it's just like, you know what? Ballotpedia has not identified boards or oppositions to the ballot. You know what? I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I mean, I'm probably going to vote okay on this because I just think it's freaking stupid. Number 2, authorize county to issue infrastructure bonds for blighted areas. Really? Blighted? We have to use blighted? What are we talking about? Shitty areas? Are we talking about rundown areas? What is a blighted area? Yes, supports authorizing county to issue bonds. I don't like giving government more power. Prohibits counties from allocating more than 65% of property tax revenue increases annually to repay bonds. So if I vote yes for this, it's prohibit them from more than 65, which means they can put 60% of my property taxes to pay for these fucking bonds? Hell no, I'm voting no. I don't even need to go any farther. But let's just see who is going to support this. Supporters. Republican, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Republican. Republican, Democrat, Democrat, Republican, Republican. Arguments. Proper 2 is critically important to the future of Texas. Yeah, whatever. Charlie Green. I don't give a shit if you're a Republican or not. You're trying to give government more power. Opportunity to make infrastructure a priority at the county level. Sounds like more freaking money for me. Without raising any new taxes. Sure, it wouldn't. It just said you can't do 65% of property taxes, which means you can do 60%. Additional fees and money for toll roads. I encourage you to join me vote. You ain't getting me to vote yes from that freaking comment. Influence work. Expand the property tax and the valuation out. Went skyward. See, I'm telling you, man, there is no good place to go where this shit is just worded like what it is. Opponents. Brine and Texas Freedom Caucus. I don't know who Texas Freedom Caucus. Arguments. Rural transportation priority funding decision. Push responsibility to counties from the Texas Department to improve roads. See, they always, when they start telling me how they're going to make it better, I just assume they're freaking lying. So we have $370,000 supporting this, and we have $160 opposing it. All this money supporting it makes me want to vote no. Texas Infrastructure Now gave this money. Texans for toll-free highways gave $160 to stop it. I'm for toll-free highways. I'm tired of this. This right here tells me I'm voting no on this if they're against it. Notice they have less money, more money. Okay, so on 2, I'm voting no. How about that? Let's see Prop 3. The hell they're lying to us about this. Limiting religious services. So my first thing is government shouldn't be limiting what religion do. My opposite side is saying, you know what? If we pass this as a constitutional amendment, next thing you know, you're going to have the Muslims that want to pray in the middle of the street and stop traffic like they do in New York. And there's nothing we can do about it because government will say, hey, we can't stop religious services. So if people want to lay down their rugs in the middle of the street and pray, we can't stop them. Just like they do in New York. So again, I'm probably going to vote no for this, even though I probably think the main thing they're selling it is that during the COVID crisis, they said they stopped churches. You couldn't go to gatherings, and they wouldn't allow you to go to churches. And this is supposedly will stop them from doing that. I don't know if it will or wouldn't, but again, let's see who supports this shit. Support. Candidate's Donald Huffins. So I kind of like him. He's a big anti-Fed dude. He's running for governor, and I like him, and he's for this. So I might vote for it just because I like him because he hates the Fed. Organizations for it. Catholic Church. Because the Catholic Church for it, I'm kind of against it. They want open borders. They're freaking running around hiding illegals. They're protecting priests that are freaking molesting kids. Because they're for it, I'm kind of against it. Here's the Texas Freedom Caucus again. Opposition. Reverend. Religious freedom is among the most. So he's opposed to this? Our faith teaches human life. That's why we're voting against. Wow. Amanda. Let me, hang on, let me widen this. Amanda, Executive Director of the Baptist Church. So, this reverend's against it, and anybody can be a damn reverend. Just put reverend in front. Yeah, I'm Reverend Ricky Gore. Rick Gore the Reverend. Reverend Rick. Reverend Gore. Reverend. Okay, Proposition 3. A damaging message that religious people are more concerned about special treatment than they are what's good for their communities. I hope the voters in Texas understand strong protections, free exercise. So it sounds like this guy is kind of like glad that they put restrictions on church during COVID. David Marcus, El Paso chapter. We are strong supporters of religious liberty. We believe in important faith. Nations promise everyone freedom to believe what they want. However, by removing provisions that would protect health and safety, this amendment ties the hands of local health enforcement agencies and hinders their ability to protect the public. Okay, this statement right here, I'm voting yes. Because if this guy's against it and he's using terms that it ties the hands of public health enforcement agencies, I like when their hands are tied. I like when government power is restricted. Okay, I'm voting yes for religion. I made up my mind. Damn, Rick, you just changed your mind. I do. That's how I do it. Prop 4 changes the eligibility for certain judicial officers. A yes vote supports changing the eligibility requirements for Justice Supreme Court appeals and Justice for Court of Appeals and District Court. Requires candidates to be residents of Texas as well as citizens of the United States. I agree with that. I can't believe that that's not already a freaking requirement. I mean, we got to vote for a constitutional amendment and you're letting freaking illegals and people that aren't citizens of Texas be judges in Texas? I mean, I'm kind of offended that this is freaking going on. Why do I have to do a damn amendment to do this? Requires 10 years experience in Texas as practicing lawyer or judge. I don't know about that one. I mean, that's not a big deal. It sounds good, But just because some idiot sits on a bench or is a lawyer for 10 years, don't mean he knows shit. Requires 8 years experience in Texas practicing. It sounds like they want only Texas people. They want to make sure our judges are Texas folk, which in theory sounds good. But there's a lot of left-wing idiots here, and the courts and lawyers are flooded with left-wing thinking. So I don't trust any lawyer or judge. There's very few conservatives. Disqualifies a candidate if their license to practice law was revoked or suspended during the experience requirement. Oh, I don't know about that. Once the left figures this out, they'll run around and try to suspend everyone that's going to run, and they'll suspend their license just so they're not qualified. So, again, this is how things... I've watched this happen time and time again, how the law is manipulated, and once the left figures out that, hey, if we don't want this guy to do it, all we have to do is find a way to get his license suspended anytime, and then he can't run for one of these offices for 10 years. Applies those requirements to individuals elected and appointed to a term after January 25. Well, I like, if they just said term limits, I could get it. Why does it have to say this freaking cryptic freaking mumbo jumbo? Applies these requirements to individuals elected or appointed to a term beginning. Oh, okay, so once they're appointed, I guess. Annul opposes the amendment to make the changes of eligibility requirements candidates running. All right, let's see who's for this shit and who's against it. Ballot title. Supporters. Republican, Democrat, Republican, Republican. I don't know any of these freaking people. Common Cause Texas. Texas for lawsuit reform. Texas Fair Courts Network. Who's against it? Republican and Progress Texas. Progress Texas would make it harder for younger, more diverse candidates. Okay, I'm for it. When somebody's using terms like diversity is our strength and tying the hands of government officials, then look, this bill would make it harder for more diverse. Fuck it, I'm voting for this. Okay, I'm for yes on Prop 4. All right, that's how I'm voting on that one. Shit, I should be writing this shit down. I'm gonna have to watch the damn video to know what I'm doing. 4, yes. Sorry. Let's see what I'm voting on 5. Texas Proposition 5, Judicial Conduct Authority over Candidates for Judicial Office Amendment. A yes support adding this section to the Constitution, authorize State Commission and Judicial Conduct investigate discipline candidates seeking state judicial office in the same manner as judicial office. I'm okay with that. A no vote opposes. Therefore, the State Commission and Judicial is authorized to investigate and discipline only judicial office holders and not judicial candidates. Yeah, I'm okay with that one so far. Let's see who's supporting this shit. Supporters. Democrat. That's not good. Republican, Republican. There's that Texas Freedom Caucus again. I got to figure out which ones if they start popping up on all my no's, I'll have to start saying if they support. Argument. Let's see what the argument is. It is important to step forward to improve the quality of our judicial candidate standards. Ethical campaign. Yeah, we're always trying to improve ethical shit, yet it's the most unethical profession there is out there. But you just keep trying to improve it, because that's what government does. They fail at every damn thing they do. But I digress. This section of Political Texas Code Conduct prohibits judges seeking re-election and candidates from judicial officers from telling voters how they would rule on certain kinds of cases, endorsing other candidates knowing they misrepresentative. However, it is unclear on who has the authority to reprimand. You know what? If you guys are just going after other judges and shit, I might give government. Who's opposed to it? Progress Texas. Progress Texas gives the state and judicial conduct authority over judicial candidates. In theory, this could be useful reform, but in practice, it would give those in power more control over judicial elections when they're already attempting to game. I don't know on this one. Support El Paso Times. That sounds liberal left. Design for judicial campaigns honest. We recommend support it. Dallas Morning News recommends. The amendment will expand authority of state commission. See, anytime I see expand authority, I'm kind of like a no guy. Judicial to receive complaints, investigate, and sanction candidates. if they're going after government, if it expands authority to go after government, I'm kind of okay for it. I don't like to expand government authority to go after citizens, but if you're going after government and judges, I might be okay with expanding their authority. Prop 5 expands, investigates complaints. Fort Worth Telegram, this would give state commissions power to investigate. Okay, opposition. The Austin Chronicle. Austin's a left-wing freaking shithole. I can't imagine a place being. Prop 5 against. This is another attempt to game elections. In the abstract, it would be good for the state legal institutions, such as the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, had a more useful and visible role to play in helping local voters decide this very low information races. In practice, this is a recipe for chaos and mischief designed to give rival campaigns a chance to go negative without real consequence. Much the same way. This sounds like left-wing lingo talk. All right, I'm gonna vote yes on 5. Yes on 5. What am I doing on 6? Let's see here. Prop 6, right to designated essential caregiver amendment. A yes vote means to establish the right of residents in nursing homes or assisted livings to designate an essential caregiver who cannot be prohibited from in person. I kind of like that. I thought it was bullshit when they started keeping people from visiting these people. A no opposes residents' right of nursing homes to designate. I'm kind of going yes on this just from reading what a yes vote does. Let's see who's for it and who's against it. Supporters. A Republican, really don't mean. Progress Texas, Texas Caregivers for Compromise, Texas Freedom Caucus, Texas Healthcare Association. Healthcare associations tend to be left-wing, so I don't know about that one. Let's see what the arguments are. President of Texas Healthcare. Well, we already know he's for it. Supports this method, recognizing the importance of in-person relationship, maintain necessity, steps to protect during potential community health risks. We appreciate the support of long-term care professions. And here, all right, that sounds like a freaking politician's statement. My long-term health residents entitled to visitors. Residents are entitled. This amendment would guarantee the right of residents to still be allowed visits. Okay, I'm okay with that. Visiting loved one in Hertzman should be a right, not a privilege. I kind of agree with that. We have to let people get in there and check on the people in the thing. Who's opposed to it? If you're aware of any opponent, damn, nobody's opposed to it. Wow. Dallas Morning News is yes. Oh, man, Dallas Morning News, freaking Dallas. El Paso Times. Prop 6 strikes a compassion balance between protecting bodies and nurturing spirits. Now feeling we urge voters to support Prop 6. San Antonio. Fort Worth Telegram. Who's opposition? Identified media. Wow. All right. I guess I'll go ahead and go yes on 6. So I'm yes on 6. Well, we got 7. There's only 8 ballots. 8. So there's 7. Homestead tax limit for surviving spouse of disabled individuals. What the shit? Really? We need all these freaking amendments? All right. Supports amend the Constitution to allow the surviving spouse of a disabled individual to maintain a homestead property tax limit if the spouse is 55 years of age or older at the time of death and remains. Man, why are we... This sounds like freaking... Why can't we just use common sense on this? Why do we need an amendment? I mean, if a woman's married to a dude that dies, why do we need an amendment? And why does she have to be over 55? What, if a guy marries a girl that's 54 when he dies, then he's screwed? I don't... Some of these freaking ballots are just so bullshit. Who's against it? Supporters. Some Republican, Progress, Texas Freedom. Arguments. The surviving spouse of a disabled homeowner should not be saddled with an unexpected large increase in a tax bill. Look, I'm all for limiting taxes. So the fact that this limits the government's ability to steal more money, I'm probably for it. This only magnifies the tragedy of the loss of spice on a fixed income. I agree. But why are we putting 55? So we don't mind straddling her if she's 54 years old, only if she's 55. See, freaking people have no common sense in freaking government. We always want to write shit to make it difficult so the lawyers can argue and we can pick and choose. Why don't you just do shit the right way and do the right thing? Support. Times. San Antonio. Who's against it? Austin Chronicle. Austin again. Left wing. Prop 7 and 8 against. They are both tweaks to existing state law regarding what property tax homestead exemptions can continue to be claimed. Prop 7 allows the owner was disabled, lowering the spouse age to 55. Prop 8 to service members killed in the line of duty as opposed to in combat. Okay, this sounds like left-wing mode. They want government to be able to take more taxes. So I'm for this on what I just read. Number 7, I'm a yes. What's number 8? Man, I don't think I'd have to be voting on any of this dumbass shit. You freaking people ought to just get rid of the laws that require this freaking amendment. All right, what do we got here? Prop 8, homestead tax exempt for surviving spouse of military fatally injured in the line of duty. Oh my God. See, this is all about a vote yes, support amending the state constitution to allow the legislature to provide homestead property tax exemption for surviving spouse of a military member. I'm pretty much a yes on this. Anything that stops the government from freaking taxing more people, I'm for. I don't even have to go any further, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to vote yes on this. But let's just see who's for it and who's against it. Supporters. Democrat, Republican. 2 Democrats make me nervous. Organizations. Progress Texas, Texas Freedom. Opposition. We aren't aware of anybody that's against this. Nobody wants to say out loud that we want to take freaking more taxes. Support. Opposition. The Austin Chronicle. Okay, I'm pretty sure if I see the Austin Chronicle for something, I'm opposed to it. And I think if they're opposed to something, I'm for it. So I'm voting yes. I think I already did that on 8. All right? So that's where we're at. Okay, to recap, in case you just want to skip to this point to see how I'm voting. And again, I'm not encouraging you to vote the way I am or whatever. I'm telling you how I come to my conclusion and what I vote for and why I vote for it. And you can take it for what it's worth. And Prop 1, I'm going yes. Prop 2, I'm going no. Prop 3, I'm going yes. Prop 4, I'm going yes. I'm going yes to all the others. Prop 5 is yes. Prop 6 is yes. Prop 7 is yes. And Prop 8 is yes. So that's how I'm voting. Take it or leave it. Y'all have a good one. At least go out and vote. Even if you're wrong and you're a dummy, at least go vote. Well, isn't that there?